What is worse than spending your days and your nights in a jail cell waiting to stand trial for murder? Spending your days and nights in a jail cell waiting to stand trial for murder twice. That's worse. Oh, and also maybe facing the death penalty when you're done. That's way worse. Which is the reality for Luigi Mangione, who turned up today in a federal court in Manhattan for the first time in almost a year. Again, federal. I know you've seen him in court. It's a state process. They're going, side by side. But this is federal today. And some things were different now that he's with the feds and not with the staties. This time, the finance bro clothing, gone. Instead, Luigi was wearing beige jailhouse scrubs, and he was shackled at the legs, too. But other things were very much the same. That courthouse commotion and the ride or die supporters were all there, some now calling themselves the Mangionistas. And two fans apparently flew in from Sicily and went straight to the courthouse directly from the airport. Here was the Free Luigi sign outside, the whole thing, the sign and the scene and the sounds and the feels outside the federal courthouse.
What do we want?
Free Luigi!
When do we want it?
Now!
And if we don't get it?
Shut it down!
If we don't get it?
Shut it down!
If we don't get it?
Shut it down!
Wonder what that means. I do. I really wonder what shut it down means. Like, forcefully? Like, storm the courthouse? Like, I hope that's not what they mean. But we'll see, right? Because he's got a lot more of these hearings to go. As for the business of the death penalty case inside, his lawyers want to throw out 2 of 4 federal counts that he's facing, including murder by firearm. That's the big one. That's the one that allows the feds to go after the death penalty. Murder by firearm. I know, it's weird. Anyway, usually murder is state, right? It's not usually feds. And then when the feds take it, it's usually terrorism or something. But nope, couldn't go for terrorism. This one is murder by firearm. That makes it death penalty eligible at the federal level. Defense says that the government overstepped, largely by turning the alleged assassin's arrest into this. Remember this? I was like, is this a movie? Turns out that's exactly what the defense thought. They said this is on par with a Marvel movie, right? Like this is some bad guy, superhero bad guy who is, has to be surrounded by hundreds of officers to be brought to the jail. There is also the matter of the U.S. Attorney General, who called for Luigi's execution even before he was indicted. Come on. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but Jesus, you don't do that. Team Luigi is also fighting the same battle that they were waging in the state court in New York. That was last month, remember? They want to throw out everything that the police in Pennsylvania found in the backpack of the suspect because they didn't get a warrant first. I have my thoughts about that, too. I've shared it with you before. It's like, dude, you're being arrested and they think you're the guy that executed a guy on the sidewalk and they want to make sure the cops don't get shot, in the cruiser or right there in the McDonald's. That's my opinion. But the state judge doesn't plan to rule on a lot of this stuff for several months yet. And the federal judge, the one today, didn't rule on anything today. But what she did do was she put Luigi's federal trial officially on her calendar, on the docket. But basically in pencil because it very well could change. She says his federal trial, if it goes, could start as early as October. And October's the date if they decide to get rid of the death penalty. They can go a little sooner. But it could start a whole year from now in 2027, January 2027. That's if they don't nix the death penalty. So, more prep, longer time to prep. Death penalty more serious, more evidence, more experts, more everything. All of this matters because largely it was believed that Luigi's state trial was going to come first. And it still might. Joining me now with his thoughts on all of this is legendary trial attorney and host of the podcasts Two Angry Men and Reasonable Doubt. Mark Geragos, good to have you here. Let's just start from the beginning. And I can't take my eyes off the Mangionistas. Most people think it's just the circus, but I think it matters because it gets them a lot of headlines. It gets the message out to a whole bunch more New Yorkers who may show up as potential jurors. And I wonder if you think this is going to fade away the longer the process takes to get to trial. Will they get bored or will they grow?
Well, not only is it not going to fade away, but it's engaging if you're a defense lawyer, and full disclosure, it's my daughter's firm. But what you look for with any criminal defendant, anybody who is accused of a crime, if you're going to trial, you want a constituency. And guess what? This gentleman has a constituency. When you know who's most worried? Who's most worried is not the defense, it's the prosecution. They're deathly afraid, I'm going to take it from me, that what I call a stealth juror will somehow make their way onto one of these juries, federal or state, and that stealth juror is not going to convict. That's their worst nightmare, and frankly, I think it's likely.
So I do want to ask you about the issues inside the court. All of this is a great sideshow, and I find it interesting. And quite frankly, sometimes I think this stuff counterbalances the other stuff that, that incredible perp walk where they made him look like, I don't know all the Marvel characters, but the one with the hammer hand and everything. Inside the courtroom, they were trying to attack the most serious charges that Mangione's facing. And I was looking through I just couldn't understand how this wasn't obvious. Do you think that the defense has a serious and a strong case in getting those two most serious charges tossed out and thereby getting the death penalty off the table?
Well, they've had success so far in the state court. I'm not so sure that they're not going to have success here also. This Judge Brooks, no nonsense, I think has already excoriated the DOJ, and it would not surprise me in the least if they got relief in the federal court. I mean, this has been a very unusual prosecution. A cynic might say, why is it that there's a dual prosecution here in New York, but not in Utah with Tyler Robinson? And it's obvious because in Utah, the calculation is death by firing squad. Here, they're afraid the state court is not going to impose the death penalty, so they're going to bring a concurrent federal action. So, prosecutors are supposed to adhere to a higher level of ethics. They're not supposed to be there just to get a conviction. They're supposed to see justice done, and judges are there to hold them accountable. So we'll see. And a long-winded answer, yes, I think they've got a shot, a real shot.
I can never hear you enough, so it wasn't long-winded at all. But I want to ask you this honestly, and I know you're a defense attorney, but I need you to take that hat off for just a hot minute and just be a lawyer. In the Kohberger case, the way I saw it as a non-lawyer was that the only shot Kohberger's attorney had was to save his life, not get him out of prison. They were never, ever going to get an acquittal, right? Do you see the Mangione case a little the same? The whole case, the whole nut is just to save his life.
No, I don't. And actually, one of the things that perplexed me, taking your comparison literally, is in Kohberger, I thought that they had a shot at a hung jury based on the lack of circumstantial evidence or some of the other kinds of problems in that case. However, he did plead. Once he pleads, all of that goes by the wayside. Remember, all of this kind of positioning, if you will, in capital cases meaning where you're facing the death penalty, there's always a tension between the client and the lawyer. The lawyer is there to save the person's life. The client, a lot of times, does not buy into that. The client, a lot of times, does not believe, number one, that they may have done it. Number two, does not want to go down the route of confessing to have done it in order to save themselves. I've been in that situation. So I remember back, you want to hearken to other stuff, Ted Kaczynski, he positioned himself, the Unabomber, or his lawyers did, in order to save him from the death penalty. He spent, I can't tell you how many years, regretting that, writing all kinds of motions, serially complaining about his lawyers because they saved him from the death penalty because he wanted to be heard. When you have somebody, arguably, who is on a mission, who is sending a message, who is doing this not because contrast it with Nick Reiner, who may have been under the auspices of some kind of mental illness, but where it is something else or it may be a cause, that calculation does not ring true to me. The calculation of we're going to just save his life. I don't know that this young man wants that in the least.
I got to wrap it there, but this is one of those times you and I are definitely going to disagree. I'm usually right on board with you, but I figure the only shot he's got is to avoid whatever kind of, death penalty there may be at that time. Hey, Mark Geragos, thank you for doing this on a Friday night. I really appreciate it.
Hey, Ashleigh, have me back before your last show.
Oh, it's a guarantee. You're like a fave. You know that. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Okay. You too. Bye-bye.
Incidentally, that last show coming on Friday, next Friday, so don't miss it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.